to soul, spirituality has many thinks and feels lifespan in years, max of 125 years, eternal life.
All right. Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. Co-host TJ Morris is on the other side of me. I'll let her say hello and start the show off. Greetings, TJ.
Hi, Tommy. Hi, folks. This is Theresa J Morris talking to you from the great state of Texas. I'm right outside of Austin in Buda, Texas. And I had a funny comment from my co-host here. We've been hosting shows together for over 12 years. But he said, TJ, is that the real color of your hair? And yes, this is my real hair. And I've gotten so old, I have to wear glasses. My eyes are real red from allergies. But Tommy and I have had great years getting old together, 12 years to be exact in this reality. But, you know, he's really good about spiritual soul for all you that follow him. And we're just starting to really get a following on podcasts. We haven't tried to build numbers. We haven't been about, how many people can we get? But we are about soul, spiritual paths, interdimensional thinking. And he is a life coach and will help you get from point A to point B. Some people need fashion experts, some sport experts. I wrote a book called ACE Life Coach, and I lead Ascension Center organization for an ACO Club. If you're interested in YouTube, it's open source to anyone that wants to join. Tommy has always helped me in the spiritual community that we built in Hawaii. And he is a bona fide reverend or master teacher, if you will. He has a certificate I sent him from our group, Ascension Center, Allied Command and UFOs, How to See UFOs. He's written a book on that. I'm not sure it's quite published yet, but it's one of the many things he's had as a contactee as a child. But as he got older, he had a great spiritual path. And I've made him about 3 videos now to explain his spiritual path, because he was going to help us teach classes online right here on YouTube. So we're going to put those in 8-week groups on various topics and just get together and talk about them online. And, you know, I don't know how he wants to do it, but Tommy is an excellent teacher. And I would like to ask some spiritual questions on everybody has a spiritual path. So we use the word ascension in my group, and we use ACE Metaphysical Institute. And Tommy has always been there, and he's very good at writing it, getting us orchestrated, helping us get what topics we need. So I hope you'll tune into the videos we made. I can see on the bottom of these, they say TJ Morris ACO Club, but I have a new domain and YouTube called American Communications Online. So we are speakers in America. We're authors in America. He's always been in my authors club, and he's always helped me and said he'll always be there for me. So he's one of these is about having a friend, because I was very alone. I lost my daughter. I lost my husband, and I'm a widow, and it'll be 10 years in 2025. But he and I have both had near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences. We both learned in metaphysics, ontology, how to explain the astral plane and many others. And I learned from him making his videos that he and I had similar thoughts on the various levels of when we go out of body. Now, he has been a spiritually guided through many world religions, and I studied world religions. So for 12 years, we had other co-hosts on here, and he helped me through massive events, Tommy has been a speaker at events. He's been on the floor. He's been on television. He's been on some very old TV shows, and he's been with Into the Strange, and he's had a lot of videos, and he's seen a lot of things that not everybody has a gift to see. He and I have both seen a Yeti, or if you will, a Bigfoot, or Gigantopithecus, or what do they call it? Skunk ape. But not everybody has those gifts. And I can't explain a lot of things. But Tommy has a way of knowing, of understanding what it is he wants to share with us about everybody's soul, but how we're connected. And not everyone believes in a God. So we know about atheists, and we know about Buddhists, philosophical ways of living, as Zen. And today, Tommy's going to talk about what impresses him most about why we have a soul. So for Ascension Center Organization, which is one of our websites, ACO Association, ACE Metaphysical Institute, ACE Folklife Association, ACO Association, and of course, my new company, American Communication Online. So without further ado, I hope you'll listen, and hope he'll give me a time to ask a question or two. But he's going to present how to go forward in owning your own soul, and where you're going from where you've been, where you are now, and where you're going in the future. But he talks in the present. But there's plenty of YouTubes with his history if you'd like to learn more about the teacher that we're going to introduce to you today. And this is actually a series. So I believe this is number 4. Tommy, is this series 4 on the spiritual paths? I'm going to turn it back over to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, greetings. This is really 3. So we took the steps for building a foundation. Whatever you decide to do in life, you have to create your foundation, because that's what you're going to build on. Without no foundation, it's not going to survive. But I'm going to get into a few things that I consider important, especially when you're trying to move forward in a spiritual place. All right, the first step is, where do you get all your teachings from right now? How do you get them? Anybody out there? I mean, a church, a religion, a preacher, a minister, friends, family, and all that. So what of it impressed you? What of it makes you feel that it's important? Now, 90% of the people in religions believe prayer is important. All right. People that are in Christianity believe Jesus is the most important thing. Buddhism believe in Muhammad. They each have their own level of awareness, which I call level because there's many stages to reach the truth. The truth is there. The way anybody reaches it or understands it is on the level that they're at, being able to understand it at that level. All right. Now, what I was going to say today, what I want to deal with right away, when you go to school, and it's a large percentage of your growth from childhood, you're programmed with ideas, teachings that have nothing to do with spirituality, have nothing to do with living life. It's all about programming, about history. How many people remember anything about their history learned in school? How many people remembered their mathematic formulas, symbols, and all those things? All the things you're learning in school are pretty much useless in the real world unless you become a scientist or a designer. Then formulas and numbers are important. But as far as living life, having a family, raising kids, getting a job, it doesn't help you much with that. How to relate to people, it doesn't help you with that. Then when you take on a religion that says, this is the way it is, this is the way you have to be, you have to donate this much money and all those kind of things, you're already being programmed into a situation that's not natural. All right. Freedom is everybody's ability to be free, but we lost that. The government took it away from us. The Constitution was not about giving us freedom. All right. It was about taking it away. So when people go on, well, we're free. We're not free to do anything. You can't do whatever you want when you go down the street. All right. So when you say freedom of the mind, you can think whatever you want. But when you put it into action, it could hurt and be a serious problem. Now, the other word that goes with freedom is karma. We create situations, it causes karma. Jesus talked about it. It's talked about by Buddha as well. but it's cause and effect. What you create, you are responsible for. Christianity tried to build a wall where they could push it away and push behind that wall and it's gone. That's not true. Jesus never did that. All right. Now, a lot of things I'm going to tell you come from actual experience of being in the past life, in many lifetimes. That one of the suggestions I tell people is learn how to find your past lives, and there's different techniques to work with. We'll get into all these things one at a time because each one needs a little bit of explaining, understanding, and the true reality of how to do it and how to accomplish it. But when we get into the serious part of where we get our teachings from, I'm going to tell you straight out, don't spend $4,000, don't spend $20,000, don't spend $50,000 to go to a class. You're going to go home and maybe be in a la-la land for a couple of weeks, and then suddenly you say, man, all that money's gone and I don't know anything. Because, the idea of meditation has always been free. You don't have to learn to do meditation. But somebody needs to tell you the right way to do it, which religions do not. No path, no spiritual person I ever heard tells a person to do it the right way. And there's a right way and wrong way for everything you do in life. But, TJ, do you want to ask a question yet?
No, I'm just listening about your teaching in the American English here in America, and how you need a foundation. I guess if you're a humanoid, not an AI. So dealing with humans, you've had 70 some odd years. I think you're a year younger than me, right? You're 71.
Right.
And I'm 72. So I want people to know that we speak from our heart, and the soul and spirit and a foundation. How do we find our foundation, inner and outer? The foundation of what? Our being?
Okay, I was thinking about this morning. The foundation. Okay, I call it the inner and outer foundation.
Okay.
Right. The outer foundations means your physical life, working, eating, walking the streets, getting a job, all that. Your inner foundation is basically where you put your attention, what you think about, dream about, and work with. All right. But neither one of them is directly important until you get to a point where you can actually put it in a place where it belongs. Dreams are important. Past life experiences are very important. Out-of-body experiences are very important. Without all of them, you're losing the connection. It's like having a phone with no plug in it. I mean, you can have a phone. It's not going to do anything just sitting there. You can play with it, throw it up and down. It's not going to do anything. You need the connection. The connection is what you do get through a specific kind of meditation. And we'll do that because that's the starting point of anything, but not the way they teach it. All right? You're not doing it. And now I'm going to separate reality from false reality. You're not doing this to heal yourself. You're trying to grow. The physical body is going to die, get old, and everything's going to happen to it no matter what you do, no matter what you take, and no matter what you eat.
But we have to take care of our physical body because our soul.
No, I'm not saying you don't have to take care of it. You do.
Our soul's inside, right?
But it could leave any second and be fine. Soul doesn't need this body. All right. When it was put in here, it was put in here based on its own karma. But when it's inside this body, it doesn't have the right to do much. Mind, which everybody believes is them, spirit, all right, I'm going to separate that too. But when you believe that, all right, we're all consciousness, we're all part of one consciousness, I have to ask you to really think about that, not just, well, we're all connected. No, we're not. We never were and we never will be.
Well, do you think that's where people get science that energy can't be destroyed, can't be created or destroyed? It just is at the lowest infinity inside us intrinsically, or, the Hadron Collider looking for the God particle in every one of us?
All that is physical. We're in the first dimension. There's multiple dimensions to this realm. Oh, that's fifth dimensional. That's sixth dimensional. All that talk comes into the physical reality, meaning everything abides by the spiritual laws that exist within this realm. The protons, neutrons, electrons, magnetic fields, electronic fields, all vibrate and pertained in the light and sound of this reality.
Well, we got to start from the beginning. We're on number 3. But let's say today we're starting with a foundation, because last week, I apologize, I couldn't get on. So we're almost like starting over, folks, today. But so you're establishing an inner and outer foundation, right? Intrinsic, and they call it extrinsic, meaning inner and intrinsic value. My daughter wrote a book called Intrinsic Realities, and God bless her soul, she's passed over. But I don't understand a lot of the things that even she at her young age used in words and in the study of being, which is ontology. And Tommy has spent most of his life at a very deep level. It's almost like he's on the spectrum or something, at a very high level of energy that he's maintained. And he went through many years in various religions. I've heard him knowing about Catholic. He was born, whoever he was born to be, with his family. And then he went through, he worked at a Jewish temple. He's told me about that. I know that he went through many years in metaphysics, and I guess studying Madame Blavatsky and all the witchcraft and all the good white and black magic type books that we all love and enjoy in the New Age and metaphysics. And he went through Eckankar, and Eckankar is one of those that does teach you, like many, I was Latter-day Saint, I wasn't Eckankar, but they teach you that you come from out of your body and another place in space, and you'll return to that, whether it's Kolob or another planet or another universe. But Tommy has been helping all of us learn, I guess, from a metaphysical point of view, the words he chooses for understanding self as soul. He just accepts that all of us know what he's talking about when he talks about soul and spirit and the astral plane and karma. But he takes from all the world religions, including Buddhism. His life partner, Namgal, is a Buddhist. But, there's Zen and all these world religions. But he's died and come so many times close to fear. I don't know that he went into fear, or he understands chaos and then how to make order in chaos. And I've been most interested in him because he was always wanting to be a speaker and would show up at the events and help people. He's a very giving, kind person, and he usually takes a back seat. But when he comes across speaking, because I believe because his training as a speaker was on a debate team in high school, that he can come across very harsh and not in his softest voice. But he has learned to speak from a podium. So sometimes he'll speak soft and sometimes he'll speak very loud, hell damnation on the hard pews in the old churches. I don't know that he's been in any of the snake charming groups, but he has been on the fire walking path. He's been on a spiritual path that took him through Indian lore and learning about tribes and Indian medicine women. And he's been different places. And now in Hawaii, he's got the most exceptional place because people will listen to him and the Ascension Cosmos oracles and our divine guidance, and how he believes in guides and angels and all of the things we talk about in metaphysics and spirituality and what I call the Ascension Age, as do I. And he's also helped me for many, many years understand various levels and dimensions and extraterrestrials. Some of them we decided to call aliens and some extraterrestrials at one time when I wrote on UFO Digest. But the reason was is so many people were saying they're all evil. That's like saying all humans are evil or want to kill you. Well, they're not knocking your door down trying to get in and with machetes or with AK-47s, at least here in America and Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii for years and I still call it home, but I'm in Texas now. But Tommy has a giving soul that I am trying to myself to learn about and how he got here based on his past lives, his near-death experiences, his past women, and yet he had no children. Him and some other friends of mine in metaphysics have had no children. Now I've had 4, one's passed, but he's been very close to death. He's been a caregiver, and he's been in many, many religious groups as a leader, spiritual leader. And I asked him to come along with me on my path for the ACE Life Coach, ACE Metaphysical Institute, and he supported me with my Ascension Center organization in Hawaii. And he still keeps it together, but it's open source, just like an open church online. So, Tommy, understanding self as a soul is a very deep, that's a hard question if you were talking to Tucker Carlson, who left Fox News. But he's like the #1 spokesperson ever in here. But let's say you were trying to explain that to Putin and Tucker Carlson. How could you tell them, look, we're only here for a short time, and what you do with your soul inside your being, you got to take care of your being, and that's external. You like to talk about the internal and then the communication to divine, right? Your divine
Right.
or your higher consciousness. But how do all of us as individuals become one? That's where I started this talk, what I was talking about. We're all different, but somehow we're all connected. Now I'll turn it back to you. I'll
Right.
mute.
It's a little bit complicated, but we're going to start as simple as I can make it. If you understand self, this thing here, in this lifetime and many of your lifetimes, I'm talking 100 of lifetimes you already had, meaning reincarnation, and most people don't understand it or even know what it really means. It means soul came back to this planet over and over again, and it thinks it's learning something. That's the problem. Thinking. Mind, when it steps into the body, mind starts thinking. Soul doesn't have to think. And that I'm going to explain how you get to that point, because the separation between soul and mind are two separate realities. I can't talk to my partner because she's a Buddhist. All right. They believe in oneness. They believe in consciousness. They don't believe in a God. All right. All my life, all my lifetimes, I understood God. And the reason why I probably know it more than most people, and it's not coming from ego, because I was alive when Jesus walked this planet. Now, this is a person never, ever said he was God. He was only here for a short time, but he never said, I'm God, to anybody, to anywhere. His wife, Mary Magdalene, actually knew as much as he did because he had a teacher. He taught her because she had to finish teaching the disciples. So again, remember what time frame. We're talking 2,020 years ago. All right. Women were still considered slaves. No matter what you say, you can go back as far as you want in history. The 4-letter word, LOVE, didn't exist. It didn't exist since the beginning of time. Aliens don't use the word either. All right. Jesus showed it. He didn't. You can't teach love. And I go to people, okay, teach me how to love somebody. All right. You can't. You can only give viewpoints on ideas and, well, be nice, give them flowers. It's all not real.
Well, how do we feel self from soul? First of all, let's get soul and spirit. It's hard to understand unless you see someone die, Tommy. Even if you think of it as little children, there's going to be a lot of people, even though they're in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, that have never seen a human die. They've seen it on television. But even for myself, I've seen my father. I didn't even go to my own father and mother's funeral, but I did go to my brother's, and I fell to my knees, and it shocked me. It's the first time I'd ever seen anybody dead. And then I went to my daughter's, and I went to my husband's. But they're there, but they're not there. And then that's what we take with us. Is that what you want to teach us? Is what we're taking back to these other dimensions like Jesus did? Is that our ascension?
No, very few people understood what Jesus was. Words were very limited. I mean, the amount of words I have got the number of words we have in the present time. I think 200,000 words. Where in that time frame, how many words did they actually have to put them all together? All right. They didn't understand the word God. They didn't understand the word love. So the two important words were not accepted at that time frame. So when Jesus came out and was trying to talk about God, he couldn't say God. And that's why he never said, I'm God, because they wouldn't understand that. He always said, my Father. understanding that everybody has a father, so they understand what a father is to them. Hopefully he was a good person. Not me, but many people have a good father. So it's a limited way to try to explain something, but it was the only thing he had at that time frame.
Well, what about you now? You're telling us that you walked the earth at that time. So in Buddhism, you'd be called a bodhisattva that's not leaving until everybody leaves. But
No, TJ,
you're not a Buddhist. Right?
TJ, a bodhisattva only has to make that vow directly themselves. My partner did. All right. You make the vow to come back to take every soul to leave this world, which means they'll never leave here. But then again, you're dealing with something totally different, because you're not talking about a God, and they talk about the bardo, which is hell, which is where souls go when they die. I mean, I'm not going to go there, because you don't have to go to hell, because this is hell. But the bardo is a stationary place in the astral plane, which we'll get into. But I don't want to get that too far. I want to get back to the fact that, okay, understanding ourselves as soul, we have to see a picture of ourselves doing things. What are we doing? Buying, selling, eating, growing, and things like that. All right. And we do that lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So what are we learning? Nothing. Nothing important to the spiritual realm, which is the realm that you want to get into after this realm. There's many realms, but you want to get out of this one, and you don't want to reincarnate. I mean, some people, I can come back and I want to be with my family. I want to come back. I want to do this. I want to come. People aren't ready to go any further than that, because the words that keep soul here: lust, greed, anger, vanity, and attachment. I change them. I change them to sex, drinking and drugs, cheap thrills, sports. All right. Those things keep men focused on life here. Nothing else, not God. God doesn't fit into that picture. So when we talk about understanding ourselves, we live in this reality. We have to eat to keep our bodies functioning. But everybody's poisoning themselves, and they really know it at some level. Just about everything you eat is toxic. I shouldn't even be saying that. Sorry. But here's the thing. When we go out into this world, what do we want to attain? Money, fame, fortune. What are we really looking for? More children, more houses, more cars. How often do you hear people saying, well, I want to find God? And that's what I did when I was born. I was in search of God, and I found my steps slowly, one by one, getting closer to it. But we search for things that we don't need. Fame.
Well, let me interject right there. You're unique, Tommy. Not everybody was a child that was searching for God or
Right.
meaning of a soul and spirit. So when did you get this ability to know you were a child searching for God and then meaning? And I mean, that's pretty heavy for a human being, but you had been reincarnated. And you accepted that you had walked with Jesus. Now, that was very hard 12 years ago for me to understand. And since working with you all these years and studying all the levels and realms that you teach, I pretty much understood, and I've broken it down into the 7 levels or universes. But go ahead, because you got to realize we all don't understand what you're talking about. And to some people, you'll sound eccentric, and to other people, you'll sound like a crazy person. So talk about walking about and how you knew your soul before you were even born, and then coming in searching for your higher, I guess, how to get back to where you came from.
Well, see, here's the thing. We are soul. It's going to be complicated, but we are that. We always will be that. That never changes. So just becoming aware is the most critical, important word. Aware of your lifetimes. Aware of what you did, aware of all these things, because you do it over and over. Instead of being aware of what you already did, why do it again? But now with children coming out, they jump in front of a piano and they start playing a piano, play a guitar, they drive a car. They can do all these things without any classes, any teachings, and they're better than most people out there because they were in the past life. Soul's attached to this body because it's put in here, and the mind blocks it from doing what it wants to do. If soul was totally in control of the body, we all probably wouldn't be here already. Soul knows it will become much greater when it leaves the body. This body is programmed with the 5 senses of the mind: taste, smell, feeling, and emotion, all those words. But soul doesn't have them. When you step out of your body, all right, here's you, and you're coming out of your body, right? You don't have those same things now. You can't be killed. You can't be burnt, can't be shot, can't be chopped up. All the things that Dante's Inferno talks about, the levels of hell. This is it. Every level he explained is here, not in the astral plane.
Well, if you don't mind, what did you feel like? Because I do remember trying to talk, and I've had some recent out of bodies, and I've been taken on a spacecraft, which I told you about. But, you know, that's for another time. But there's various levels in this realm and other realms. But let's talk about when you first came out of your body, to tell people, okay, here's your body. Tommy's talking about he knew who he was. He was searching for God, but you learned at a very young age how to separate the two. And then how did you find yourself?
Well, TJ, here's the way it started.
Okay.
All right. Basically, my whole life changed at 6 years old. I mean, I'm aware of everything that happened to me most of my life. But at 6 years old, two things happened. I was being visited by something that I didn't know what it was. All right. For many years. And I didn't find out until I was 25 who it was. Okay. That was the first turning point. And it came to me almost every night. I mean, I could be in a horrible place in my life with my family, my father, and all that. But when I went into my bedroom, I could close my eyes and this being would meet me and take me out of my body and bring me places. I didn't understand it. Obviously, I was only 6 years old.
Was that a guide, or was that your higher consciousness? How do you differentiate?
Hold on 1 second. Let me just look.
Did you intentionally put me on? I was asking Tommy a question, and he blipped off.
So well, I had to let my little guy out. I had to let
okay.
my little guy out because he'd be bugging us. All right. Now, we create words. All right. And in a new age world, they created that word you just said. All right. Soul is aware of everything. Mind is aware of nothing.
So are you saying in the beginning was the word, and the word was without form in your reality and your philosophy and your spirituality?
We were never God. All right. We were only a speck of God that God allowed us to experience itself. All right. But I just want to get back to that other point. When we step out of our body, which is a technique you need to learn. If you want to move forward spiritually, you have to understand that and be able to experience it, or you will never understand what we're talking about. I mean, if I could talk about a fruit and you never ate one, never had one, it wouldn't mean much to you until you actually tasted one. So you can't give a definition to something when somebody didn't experience it. Love has to happen within. I could talk to you hours and days about love, but it doesn't mean a thing to you. All right. It's only what I felt. I come from a point where you have to get the experiences for yourself, not from somebody else, and not somebody telling you you had them. A psychic and all those words, they tell you you're this and that. It doesn't matter until you can feel it and know it for yourself. Now, what you asked me, when I met this being at 6 years old, she was beautiful. It was a female being. And she taught me. But during the same year that started, I was going to the hospital with my brother, and we were having our tonsils taken out. And we were in cribs. We were 6 years old. I was 6. He was 7.5. So he was in a crib over there. I was in a crib over here, and we had somebody else in the corner. And my brother stood up screaming. And he was in the back of the crib going like this. And I jumped out of my crib and ran over there, and I saw this big ship with a light beam shooting straight at him. And what I did, I jumped in front of the window and put my hands up on the window like this. All right. And then the ship just shot back out into space. Don't ask me why I did it. Nobody told me to do it. I had no reason to do it. No understanding why I did it, but I did it. And nothing happened. My brother was okay. But I mean, from then on, this being who I call, it's a deity. There's a difference between angels, guides, and deities. Deities are higher powered, more than angels are. But angels are protectors. They bring you places where you need to go. And your guide is somebody that's always around you, always will help you if you listen. I mean, if you're in a situation you don't know what to do, if you listen, you'll get the best advice you can get. All right. So now it's learning.
Are they angels, or angels not necessarily a lower level? They're not. Are they a lower deity? Are they extraterrestrial,
Deities are
alien, angel?
all right. Now, angels. Let me try to explain that. Angels are souls that never came down into the lower realm. All right. Guides came down into the lower realm, and deities dwell as a higher being that control different realms. Most of the deities that came here, all through Hinduism, were deities on the astral plane. I mean, there's a few higher. I'm not going to go into that yet, but the ones that are there do come down to lower levels. If you study anything about Hinduism, all about the deities and all that. Now, this is where it gets really bizarre. The religion itself teaches them that it's their higher self, which it's not. It's like saying, I'm your higher self, TJ. I'm not. You're not my higher self. They're separate. They have teachings. Everything that comes into this reality, guide, masters, teachers, have a follower. So each one of us.
Okay, before you lose me and everybody else, we are a soul that we may or may not choose to be here in what you call possibly hell, according to some people, or just whatever we make it. Life is a lesson or game of life, but we choose certain words to describe ourselves. And this show is about teaching us how to find our own spiritual path. But first, we have to have a foundation for what we are as beings and souls. And you, at 6 years
Okay,
old,
hold that thought. Let me do one thing. I'll be right back, but you can keep going. All right.
Okay. Yeah, Gizmo. I will. Okay. Folks, this is very deep. It's a very deep conversation with Tommy. And Tommy can talk amazingly, and it's very brilliant. He's probably a savant at the end of the spectrum. I'm sure he has some form of autism. We know he's dyslexic, but he gets books out. I worked with him many years. He's the kindest soul I've ever met. But people take him to be very argumentative, and that's okay because he's a debater and he would like to discuss things. He likes people on a level of discussing what's important to each of us. And I think he has that still small voice in him that's recognized his higher levels, that so much in his research on soul that he actually found the proper words speaking in America now, because we're in the United States of America. And he's had past lives in India. He says he's had past lives with Jesus, and we can only take him at his word. You know, we always say we can take what feels good and we leave the rest in my group. So here he is. Was the doggy okay? Gizmo okay?
A friend of mine wanted to come and watch us do this show, and he came late now. And I said, "Look, you have to come in the beginning of the show if you want to hang out here." But here's the thing. Now,
You can go to YouTube, right? It's on YouTube.
No, but he wants to see me doing it live. But here's the thing. In the Bible, people believe the Bible. People believe a lot of the stuff, but they don't know much about the Bible. Now, everybody knows the saying Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all the other 9, and then there's really 12 disciples. But here's the thing. Paul never saw Jesus in a physical body. All right? He had a vision. His vision was with Jesus, and he taught from that. One of the disciples, Matthew, Mark,
he had a vision. You mean like
I had
a dream, or he visually showed up?
A vision is real, whether people want it. You'd have to experience it to understand that. Whereas a dream is created from the mind's thoughts and what it can create. A mind has a hard time creating what God really looks like. It'll take, well, here's a man sitting in a chair. I mean, to conceive like what a gray looks like without never seeing one, or a reptilian, what they really look like, because they do look like something. So again, when that happens, when you're out of your body, soul can experience things through time because time doesn't exist the same when we leave the body. Einstein tried to get into that, but he didn't know the truth either. He said we can't go backwards and forward in time, which we can and we do. But getting back to the point, when I had a vision, all right, I went to experience everything over and over. And then I met one of the top psychics in Eckankar, who is considered one of the top. And we talked all the time. And he said, but do you remember what you were wearing? He made me think and see what I was going through, what we wore, and everything else. Now, Mary Magdalene was a goddess of a temple. She wasn't a... All right. So Mary Magdalene was not this person they created because men didn't like women. All the way up until Jesus was alive, women were still slaves. The word love never existed. So people got that history, just washed it away. Oh, love is important. Love's only important 2,000 years. The planet's how many billions of years old? How many lifetimes and time frames have man come back and forth? So
well, do we accept 4.86 billion? And if we do, why? Is that something men came up with? Men, humans?
What number did you say?
Billion.
Something billion. 6 billion?
Yeah. 4.86, and then some say 7.68.
No, there's 8 billion right now.
8 billion
right now.
Years old.
Yeah, well, we're going over that. No, where
are we getting those numbers? None of us were alive.
Science has no clue to numbers.
We weren't here. Nobody on the planet.
Science. I don't want to get into science. Science creates lie after lie. They even came out and realized that a black hole is not a black hole last week. But look, science plays with vibrations and sound and try to recreate and create the God gene and all those words. It never happened. This is the physical reality. If the God gene came into this reality, the world would explode. That's simple. So the concept of what they come up with is only based on the vibration, the energy of this realm. So when I say the astral plane, it's a different vibration, different energy, and you're not in the physical body. But
well, do you teach the interdimensional realm of the human soul inside the body versus the world interdimensional, three-dimensional versus how many dimensions? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12?
Well, there's 12 realities that God created. All right. Now,
and where do you get that number? Because again, we're supposed to go 0 through 9, and everything else is created by man.
Every realm could be proven. And the only way I'll say that, Eckankar and Shab Yoga are the only two paths out of 2,000 paths that actually taught about that level. All right. Now, there's deities that they work with in each level. All right. Even the woman that came from Venus, now Anek, or whatever her name is, she helped Paul Twitchell create the God World chart.
Was her name Olnek, Omnek, or something like that? But you're talking about, now, is that a real human being with a real story from another planet that walked here?
She says she's from Venus. She came here at 7 years old. All right. So there was seven beings that came from Venus. One of them was in the White House, and you know that, TJ, right?
You're talking about Val Thor and UFO lore?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, from 1956 forward. And that started a whole spin-off of the beautiful people walking around that look just like us as extraterrestrials doing good work versus aliens abducting people for DNA and all of that. So that's where we get into all these stories, right?
Well,
they
kept him in the White House because he did have powers which nobody else had. All right. The government doesn't allow people to walk the street with power. They won't and they don't. All right. So he stayed there until he disappeared. But getting back to Alnek, she came down, claimed all these things. She taught half of her life. All right. But she's into the aspect of love. Venus, I challenged her. I said, talk about Jesus. And well, he was an alien. Even aliens say the same thing because they don't know much about him. Billy Myers, a UFO person, also claimed he had a person, he went in a cave, found Judas's manuscripts, which said Jesus was an alien. So he created, the same year they actually came out with Judas's manuscripts. So
Do you believe in the Billy Myers story as guides? Are now see, I was raised during that time as an investigator. That was back in the days. Jan Aldrich, a lot of people out of Washington, and Dr. Bruce Maccabee in the early 70s was on a very few of the men at the university that actually were studying UFOs after J. Allen Hynek's group. And so Billy Myers' story came along, and Dr. Bruce Maccabee, he saw that film, and he and I have had deep discussions about Gulf Breeze as well in '95. So can you tell me, do you think that story, because she was called Semyase, which is a name for an angel.
That's what he gave.
One of the angels that is already listed in angel. I don't know if you believe in that and deities and angels, one of the head angels, but Semyase also is a teacher from up above. So I was called Semyase as a teacher, like a sensei. But what say you on just teacher from the stars, Semyase, meaning you call anybody a Semyase or an angel or both?
Let me stop you there. All right. Now, like you said, there's good and bad in everything. Well, we say we're good and bad people, right? I don't know any good people on this planet that say they are and really are. A multimillionaire is probably the most evil person in Jesus's viewpoint, not mine. All right. But here's the thing. When we classify good and bad is what we perceive as good and bad. What you perceive as good, what I perceive as good, what you perceive as bad. Now, take that to another race that eat humans. What is bad to them? It's not bad for them to eat humans. It's normal. So our concept of they're good. No, they're not. Stephen Greer is coming out saying all aliens are good. We need to talk to them and they'll work with us. No, they won't. They never did.
Well, don't you say all aliens are bad and all ETs are good? Or is it the good, bad? No. What about angel, devil? I mean, it's all the dichotomy or the duality of
they're all real.
Positive spin and negative spin in science.
No, they're all real. No, they're all real.
Okay, so everything that we create is above that level, that dimension that
we don't create.
We don't create good and bad.
We didn't create Satan. God put it here for a reason. All right, we're in hell for a reason. Everything God created was for a reason. He created the most beautiful universe and world which we live in, and all man does is destroy it.
All right, so everything is of God, everything is created, and God is good. Everything is good. That is a spiritual way of thinking.
But the way God allowed us to be is to grow. And that was with complete freedom. All right. But
free will, as we see on television programs, free will.
But the worlds were created like high school, college, grammar school. You can't say, I want to go to college and go to college. You can't go to a higher level until you attain it. So when these people say, well, I attained mastership, I'm a God-realized being or self-realized. Well, you learn self-realization first, then you learn God-realization.
Now you're getting somewhere. Now you're getting to words that we can understand from your beginning of your setting a foundation. So let's do that. You can come back and teach 8 weeks on each level or 6 weeks, but you just spoke a really big deal, and I've got a video we can play at the end of this, 1, 2, or 3, or one every time at the end about your words. God realization. Now, you told me that, Theresa, that's God realized. That's what because I was out of body near death. I had ET experiences and what I thought living and going with people that didn't have wings, but they were in spacecraft. They were in other dimensions and I died. But you were teaching me there's various levels to be in. And I did meet certain people in certain dimensions, and everybody else is talking about, they're multidimensionals, they're interdimensional. So what are angels and what dimension?
Again, now there's a separation for interdimensional beings. All right. An interdimensional being is on an individual path. Souls allowed to take a specific path that they choose themselves, or taken one that could help the universe, multi levels. So when we come in and we say, well, I got to be this, I got to be a doctor, I'm going to help people. Everybody believes they can help people. We can't help nobody. We believe it. We send unconditional to the planet. Did it do anything in 2,000 years? Ever? when people put themselves in an ego trip, well, I do this and I do that. How much money did you donate to every starving children in the United States? I write a letter to Musk every day. You want to go to Mars, you want to save the planet, but you can't save the children starving in your neighborhood. So, people have an ego.
Well, that's a good point. Are we here to save the world? If so, why doesn't all the millionaires, Trump and Musk and all the people in Congress give all their money away?
Because they're not here to save the world.
They're not here to save the world.
They're here to save their ego.
Their ego. Well, tell us about the leveling up then from interdimensional beings. We're a three-dimensional experiencing our senses here. Why? Why are we experiencing senses?
Okay. This body is like a plant, like a tree, like anything. It grows, it eats, it drinks, it releases oxygen, waste, whatever it releases. It's got to release what it takes in. All right. Jesus said it's not what goes into your body, it's what comes out of it. And that's an important, not the way you would think about it normally, but you really have to take that into contemplation. What does he mean? Actions is what comes out of us, what we do. I mean, he said, give your life to God and you'll have eternal life. Try to hold on to it, you'll lose it. So do people understand those words? No. And you're talking about Christians that believe it totally. All right. Now, I was going to become a preacher. I was in the church. And I was going to sign a paper becoming a preacher. And then I said, well, I'm not going to donate 40% of my salary. Oh, well, then you can't become a preacher. I said, what? I'll give 60% when I can. Well, no, just save 40%. I said, what if I got to pay my rent? I got to pay it. I walked away from it. Luckily, I did. But then I was a born-again Christian. And, everything you do has to be in the name of God. All right? Which is, we do everything in the name of what we are. We can call ourselves whatever we want, believe whatever we want. Jesus never said he was God. But to say we are God, can you do one miracle and prove it to everybody? I mean, Mary Magdalene could. And if
so you do believe in God, and that's your foundation.
The God is the foundation and the only thing that truly matters. Because if you believe in it and follow it, you'll get greater and greater awareness, and you'll become a higher being, period.
So would you say level 1 is belief in God or knowing God?
Knowingness is the first step. Knowing that you're here, knowing that this isn't who you are. I quote, the word karma. I use it for the word, you get a lot of karma from your car. You break down, you have accidents. It's karma. Everybody has to pay karma. And some people could live in a box and no, I don't have to pay karma. I dealt with Dover, and she won't talk to me personally. I wish I could talk to her. I told her I'll change her life. But she said she has no karma. She said she has no ego because she's following Deepak Chopra. All right. And I challenge him every day. I write him a nasty letter.
Well, Deepak, I met him. He's a very nice man, a great author, great leader.
Wait.
But the doctors I talked to in his field as a doctor felt like he went more towards entertainment rather than, and he is a speaker, but to each his own for Oprah following him. But she goes to the great spiritual leaders if she can learn anything, right? If she can grasp anything.
No. Remember, everybody's doing something for a reason.
Well, we're all here to like you, but we didn't all learn.
No, everybody's not here to experience God.
Well, let's go back to you and how you learned about you, your soul, and your bottom line. You've established God. God is your bottom line.
God is.
Okay. Now we build on that once we recognize we are just nothing compared to God.
We are, and I'll do this. Maybe your mind can unperceive it much simpler. Take a glass mirror, drop it on the floor. You got 100 pieces.
Okay.
The biggest piece there is God.
All
right. We're the little pieces, the little fragments that it allows to recognize to be part of what it's supposed to be part of. And when we come down here, God didn't want to make it easy. All right. That's why he allowed Satan to control this reality. And people don't want to accept that either, not even the Christians. But here's the thing. Everything we do revolves around money, all right, and sex. Men don't do anything else. So take that away, they have nothing. And when you go past the astral plane, you don't have any of that. You're not a male or female. And that, I'm not getting into that right now, but male and female is a problem for people, because if you're a female in multiple lifetimes and you come back into a male's body, you're aware of all these female things that man isn't.
Well, let's establish that right now as a soundbite. I am a woman, you are a man. Now, I was born with certain anatomy on the outside, but it's not as long as yours. But we both have something that makes us feel good. And I wouldn't know how to explain that to anybody, except that when we were born in the 50s, I was born 51, when you came to Earth, and we had other, and you can explain that. We had morphodites and those born with both. So that should be a choice if they have both. But those should be the only ones to have a choice. Do you not agree? Or do you think you're a man, I'm a woman, but
no, TJ, wait, TJ. The thing that has to be realized, what I just said.
What,
if you were male, if you were male in 20 lifetimes and you come back into this lifetime as a female, you have no awareness of what a man is. You're aware of all the female abilities and things and everything they went through from your past lives. All right. So
well, look at how God created male and female in trees and mammals and animals, plants, animals. I don't know. Does rock have a male and female? I haven't studied that.
No, but here's the thing.
Most everything has a male and female, do they not?
There's three creatures that don't have to have sex and can produce the opposite sex.
I have no problem with people saying once they're here, they want to change. I have no problem with that. That should be their own choice, but not to say you're either born one or the other, male or female. Like when you splice a tree together, yes, that can be done. Those are hybrids, are they not? Like roses, hybrid roses? No. Tell us how to deal with that. We're in that right now.
Okay, we're going to destroy that reality. China.
Well, what is the soul?
Wait. China, Japan legalize cloning animals and humans together. All right, which is going to be the government. Our government has been doing it too, but they're legalizing it. All right. In China, I don't want to get into all the things, but China's legalizing lasers that can cut the tops of trees off. To put people in the street can have them. We're creating the most horrible disasters that are going to happen and grow. But getting back to what we are, male or female, all right, we have feelings. Men think of this, men think of that, but you don't have to go through the action of everything that you experience and feel. All right, you give into a feeling, it grows. Keep feeding a feeling, it grows greater. Like when I saw Cher and Sonny and Cher, I thought they were the greatest, that they were my idols. Then they had the little girl, and then she turned into a boy. It blew my mind. I didn't understand it. But
okay, so Cher and her mother I always followed them too. I got to meet Cher when I was a little girl, and she came with Sonny in Houston. But their daughter was Chastity, was it not?
Mm-hmm.
And then she became Char for Chaz.
Right.
And so, yeah, she was born as a girl, but she took shots and then had a sex change.
Right.
But the hormones, and I don't understand all that, because I've known women that have so many male hormones they can't have children. But now we're getting into things that are way out of my league, because I have no books to read on it or study. I don't even want to learn about it, to be honest with you. I know about a lot of things. I'd rather study about your soul and getting the levels. And then I'm getting close. You are too, passing. We have 25, maybe 50 years. If we lived to 2050,
no. I don't even want to live.
We don't go with a physical reality because our souls are old. We're old masters. You don't want to talk about how many lives we've each had?
I had a lot. I'm aware of all of them, and only 3 out of thousands were important. Think about that. I was a minister, rabbi, priest. I was this, that, but I was never a killer, which is really important. When you create horrible negative energy, karma, you're going to reincarnate many more times to work out that karma alone. You don't have a choice. Well, I'm going to be rich and famous. No, you don't even have that choice.
You're saying that over the thousands of years man has been on, we've kept the word karma for a reason. Where did that word come from? Is that India, Tibet? Or
Buddha created the word. All right. But it's an important word, and it's real. All right. The idea that we create good and bad karma. Well, there's no good and bad. Oh, yes, there is.
Well, you're going to have to hold that karma because we've been on for an hour.
I'm losing your voice, TJ.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said we're right at the hour right now. I was wondering if we could play one of your videos to show what kind of classes you've had talked to me about three years ago.
1, 2, or 3 you want me to play?
I've got 3 down there, but you could choose. I don't know which one because I haven't seen them in a while. But, these
Stelter embracing internet, more options and opportunities, new technologies, privacy, and growth. Envision modern approach to old souls, innovation and visions of self-power. Meet the path and journey you choose, time and essence, out-of-body teachings, near-death experiences, meditative practices, advanced metaphysicians. We have tools of the ancient ones. Taught only word of mouth for readied students. One must want to grow in spirit and find new paths. We teach meet your spirit guides, angels. We teach how to protect from demons. Classes on levels. Need to know basics. How to see UFOs. It helps to believe they exist. Tommy knows from eyesight experience. Workshops remote online, out-of-body teachings, near-death teachings, dimensions, planes, realms, higher life beyond earth thoughts. Thomas Hawksblood Sinisi grew up in New Jersey. Spiritual path took him to Hawaii, firewalker, and studied Native American traditions. Now a teacher of higher conscious paths to soul, spirituality has many paths to our future evolvement. Thomas prefers Tommy Hawksblood as his pen name. Live stream, YouTube videographer, topics through experience and research on his books. Western Society Rebels Against God, Semitism, Jews, Freemasons, Humanism, Secularism, Rituals, Drums, Dances, Trances, Sacrament of Matrimony, Marriage. Author speaker, Life and Life After the Death of the Body. Love and Happiness, Is Freedom Important? Mind and Heart Thinks and Feels, Lifespan in Years, Max of 125 Years, Eternal Life, Truth? What is truth? Yours or mine? Ancient History, World Religions, Global Health, Good and Evil, Talks God, Deities, Angels, Lucifer, Satan. Lodges, Masons, Secret Societies, Esoterics, Beyond Love, Beyond Death, Beyond Programmed Consciousness, Yowie and Your Own Steps to Your Goal. BU Workshop, Social Change Workshops. First in 2021, Begin Radio, Podcasts, Epistemology in English only. Business Language Online. Sign up for metaphysical classes taught $50. Each class certified 6 weeks training additional $25. Charm Sage Elder Invisible College. We vet students total -100.
All right, TJ, that was incredible. Thank you.
Well, those prices, those were ones we discussed years ago. But, if you want to teach open source or for your 6-week classes, the other 2 don't mention the class prices. And I apologize for 2021. But then we hit COVID, folks, if you remember. So we're starting all over again now that Tommy's back, I think. So you'll have to tell people when you're available and if you can set them up, and we can teach them on StreamYard with, they have a workshop. Have you seen that?
Okay. Everybody out there, I have an email, simple email address. I have 2 you can use. Hawksblood1@AOL.com or How to See God at AOL.com, either one. But questions I will answer anytime you want to do a workshop. Just tell me what topic you really need to hear or want to learn, because most conferences, you got to listen to what they want to tell you. All right. I only care about what you really need in your life. If you need something this way or that way, I'll help you with that, because getting money isn't going to be, becoming super powered is not going to help you either. People telling you that you're super energy, super this and that. It doesn't matter. Soul's going to be leaving this body no matter what it does, how it feels, or what it looks like. And if in time, you're going to look old, period. I mean, look at us. So,
You've proven that. Just look at 12 years on YouTube for both of us. He was so gorgeous with his black hair. He was very, very young. We both were. We were very nice looking. But Tommy, looks go away. Isn't that part of being part of the God source?
Well, ego keeps us here. Ego, what you were saying, ego makes people want to look better than what they are. Better smile, better lips, bigger eyes, more hair, bigger body, bigger this, bigger that, stronger this, stronger that, with injections, with operations. All that is taken away from who we are. I mean, if you can't face who you are, changing it is not going to make it better for you when you leave your body, because you're going to be dealing with the same energy and body when you come back in the next lifetime. Most people
I've
do
had
not
people from other countries. Tommy, I don't know how to tell them. They know I've been in India. They know I've been an Indian. If those of you that listen to Atlantis Oracle, my different past lives are on YouTube, but I've never really marketed or told people how to find out about me, even, Tommy. But people know that we've had past lives because we've talked about it for so long. But even though I've been in India, I don't want to go back and live in India again, Tommy. So can you tell people, why are we Americans now? Did we level up somewhere in reality?
No, we're not leveled. America is not the best place on the planet, even though we're told it is.
Better in India and living there with all the people and putting the people up.
You can live in the mountains and you got everything you want. You don't need anything else. It's when we want attachment to something, fame, fortune, money, houses, cars, everything brings us back to physical reality, and it doesn't matter where you live. India has cars for $3,000. They wanted to bring them here, but the United States won't let them because it'll put a lot of the car companies out of business. So it's about money. Everything
Great technology is still go back to wampum and beads and the founding of America. So make America great again. But, we got our own wampum nowadays. So,
America was
we don't know.
Beautiful.
We don't know why we have all the answers. Paper money came around in 1590 or 1690.
Sean David Martin gave a history of how the money market was created. But here's the thing. The native people lived in harmony with themselves. White man came in and killed them all. We're not beautiful, loving people like we all think we are. We come from a root race of killers, every one of us.
We should come back and talk about the Lemuria and Atlantis. Everybody's talking about that.
Again, people, if you have a specific topic that you want to hear, email me, text me, either way. I'm on Skype, Hawksblood11, if you want to talk directly. But we're trying to help people. We're not trying to make money. I never tried to make money. All right. And Tina
never do.
Tina wants to, but we're not. But it's only, I'm not here to help the world, because the world.
We're not here to help the world. Is that what you said?
You can only help those who want it. That's a fact. The old saying, like a horse of water, you can't make them drink it. So,
tell them we'll be here back next week, and okay. I've got to go because we're going to do this every week. And, I have a show to do tomorrow, Wednesday, with our old friend from Stargate to the Cosmos, but Brett Luter of California, and you know him, you've worked with him at events where you've both been speakers, and you both worked at the Javier Sandoval and all those over there, and Victoria Jack. So, I'm keeping something going there, and we have interviews, but, we can bring people on too. But right now we need to get Tommy where we're getting scheduled to have these workshops and understanding what he's talking about at all these levels that he has lived and breathed and mastered. He is a master. Now, words, we're working on those to understand what he means, because he talks so fast and puts out so much information. And I'm pretty high-minded and fast. And I say I'm an ascension master, having lived lives before, and I can't keep up with him in this reality. He's still trying to convince me to stay on the planet, but I don't know how many years we're going to be here. People are dying at our baby boomer age, right and left.
TJ, it was a pleasure. We'll let you go, but till next week, we'll be back. We'll be following through with what we're getting into. We want people to get involved. I mean, we're not going to charge you money. We're not going to make you pay for anything.
Okay.
If they want to buy books and stuff, that's a different story. But right now, I put a new book out. But it's only for women, and it's to help them live life.
Well, what is that book? I haven't bought it, but I will. I just need to get on. I've got a credit card. I've got an Amazon account. Where do I go get your book? Do you have a
everywhere.
Picture?
TJ,
do you have
it's
a picture
everywhere.
of one?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Well, we need to get you on some other talk shows, and especially, getting you out there so people will know. It's not in the ET UFO genre, folks. That was one of his majors. It's a advocating for women.
It's self-help for women, basically.
self-help for women, and it'll probably, what's the name of it? And what is it? Thomas Hawksblood, your pen name, or Tommy Hawksblood?
Okay, the title of the book is For Women Only, Understanding a Man's Ego. I mean,
Women only.
Right.
Byline or second?
For women only. For has to go before it.
Oh, FOR, not for women.
Right.
FOR, for women only. And then the second line in the book is
Understanding Man's Ego.
Understanding Man's Ego. Sounds like one of those men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Well, no, he was very right on when he wrote those books. I mean, we are separate. Men and women do not think and act and feel the same way, no matter what we do. All right, and that's why it's so up and down between everybody. Men think of one way, women think another. Women are compassionate, men are not. Or they can pretend they're compassionate, they can be compassionate, but they are not. So women are loving and compassionate all the time, most of the time. But see, here's the thing. Men control women, have always did for 100,000 years, people. That's a long time to be in the back seat, always, which women are. And I say, now a woman has to learn to step forward, walk alongside a man or walk in front of him, not in back of him.
Well, I was always in a man's job, but folks, I'm the, what do they say, the exception. I'm 5'11". I was in military uniform. I was 176 then, and I did my DOD as a career in and out of country, and I drove on and off Area 51. But that's something Tommy and I are going to discuss sometime when we get through the spiritual shows. But that's another, what is that called, Tommy? Yeah. Another world?
Yeah. For now, we're going to try to stick with getting the foundation laid for people that need to do it and want to do it and move forward.
We need a lexicon, and we need you to take the words that you write about and put them where we can, maybe in a book, and explain the levels, like, you know, what we're doing, it's foundation, and why we're stacking, just like you wrote the one for women only. I've had a lot of men on Facebook comment. So they want you to step up to the plate because you're in a male body. And now you need to make one for men to understand women, even if it's a little.
No. See, that's the thing. They don't want to.
Well, maybe some of them do. A couple of them do.
All men want is sex. They don't care whether they like it or not. In most relationships, you'll find out the same thing. A man will please himself, but he really doesn't always please the woman, which is a sad thing in a relationship.
Spiritually, you'll have to separate that.
But in Hinduism, everything was based on sex. And I asked your friend about that. He'll tell you all about sex and what it is, what it does. Kind of
the levels in Hinduism. Well, that's other world religions. We'll talk about those later. But for us, we're Americans. We're doing our best. It's 2024. And I guess welcome to June. Aren't we going into June next week?
Yep. Definitely.
So welcome to June 2024. We're through the COVID. We're finally getting past all that. And folks, we're all about love and light. At least I am. And I've tried being evil, but it doesn't work for me. I never could lie. I couldn't get away with it.
I can't lie.
So what you see is what you get. My sister says I have no filters, but at least you know what you're getting. So thank you for joining us, Tommy. I look forward to next week. You have some very interesting friends that find me that talked about you and say you're better with me. So maybe there's some truth to a male and female working together.
It's hard to, my mind goes around in a circle with everything. So everything fits in there. So if I'm talking about butterflies, I'll be talking about a caterpillar. Okay. And then I'll go to a cat. And where's that fitting with the butterfly and the caterpillar? It doesn't. But see,
you're a very fast thinker and you're high-minded. I would say that you're a savant.
In that way, we're all connected.
I think you're very high-minded. You're very highbrow. You're very wise. And you don't give yourself enough credit for all the experiences you've had.
I don't like to brag about it, but I had every experience that I could possibly want and more. I don't want more experiences.
Well, you got to tell us what we're doing here and why. I want you to get into soul purpose too, because in the New Age community, we ask, "What's your soul purpose?"
Right.
So right now, you're saying, first of all, get your foundation and try to find knowing God, which you
got to know knowing yourself and not self-ego. knowing yourself as soul.
And we'll talk about that. Ego is
Next
not.
time. Well, that'll be the title for next week. All right.
All right.
Good pleasure. Always. Till next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. TJ Morris, great person. I knew her for a long time. We did shows for 12 years, on and off most of the time. But it's time for people to take a giant step if they want to move forward. We don't have much time. Time is in essence right now. The amount of time that we're going to be able to walk around on this planet the way we are right now, it's going to change. It's changing through three major reasons, but I'm not going to get into all of that now. But one of them is AI. All right, which is probably going to be the most serious one because it'll take 90% of the jobs away. And then population is going to be changed as well. But till next time, TJ, it was a pleasure. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. The picture in back of me is a picture I shot of the burning bush. My burning bush, not Moses's. But till next time, happy evening, morning, night, day, wherever you are. Get the best out of it, what you can. Don't accept anything else other than the truth. Always look for it. And if you don't know, challenge it even more. All right, people. Peace, love, compassion. And I'm going to go out with another video. Oh, no, she's disconnected. I can't play it. All right, well, till next time. Next time.